Ladies and gentlemen, please join me and help me welcome our speakers, our panelists for the next session. Please join your hands together for Juhi Agrawal, co-founder, Scan Holdings. Very, very warm welcome, ma'am. Very pleased to have you here. Also requesting Lalita Indrikanti, CEO, Jaguar Land Rover Technology and Business. Very, very pleased to have you, ma'am, today. Thank you. Thank you for being here with us. Moving on, inviting our next panelist, Mr. Rakesh Kaul, MD and CEO, LivePure. Please put in your hands together and help me welcome. Inviting Mr. Rohan Malhotra, CEO and founder, RoadZen. Requesting Mr. Sunil Kumar, Global CEO, Dataflow Group, to please grace us. Inviting Vaibhav Malau, MD and so WebWorks, and moderating this conversation we have Dr. Dinesh Kumar, Associate Professor, Bennett University. Very, very pleased to have all our speakers, all our panelists, and very, very glad to have a moderator here with us. And now, trust today is not soft capital, it is strategic infrastructure. Let us begin. I'll request the moderator to kindly let's take the session forward. Thank you.
Hello. Very good afternoon. I must say it is a great privilege to have a panelist, esteemed panelist with me here. Going to talk about the trust in economy, the theme of the session. Speaking of the trust, it is extremely imperative for all the businesses. Listening to the previous sessions, I came to know that yesterday's one of the ministers was talking about 3 T's. And in these 3 T's, there was a trust. So technology, talent, and trust. So we will have more emphasis on trust in this session. So I would start by asking every panelist here, what do they mean with the trust by saying just one word, okay? What it means to their businesses. Just one word. Sunil, if you can, you could perhaps also tell the name of your company, your name, and then just one word, and then we can kick off the discussion.
Hello. Yeah. Hi. Good morning. Good afternoon, rather. Thanks for having me here. I am working with Dataflow Group. We are into background verification and immigration due diligence. So for us, trust is right there. I think we are making sure that people trust when they are moving around, and we work with the global mobility. So whenever there is a cross-border migration, that is where our role comes into, and we work with the governments and regulators across the world. So for me, trust is trust, but one word, if you want, is belief. That you believe into this.
Hi, my name is Rohan Malhotra. I'm the CEO of RoadZen. We are a NASDAQ-listed AI technology firm that does research in AI at the intersection of insurance and mobility. By mobility, I mean cars. So we build next-generation auto insurance for car makers, for fleets, for insurers all over the world. And for us, I think trust means reliability. I think there are multiple AIs in the world today, and some of them you hear a lot about, like ChatGPT and others, but they work like 60–70% of their time accurately. The rest of the time, there's a lot of hallucinations, there's errors. We think that trust in AI means to be able to deploy an AI that works reliably, 99 and several significant nines in an enterprise setting, and that, I think, is the key.
Yeah. Hi, thanks. So I'm Rakesh Kaul, CEO and Managing Director for LivePure, a company which is trying its best to democratize the drinking of purified water across India. And for me, trust is, I would rather use 3 words for trust, actually. So trust for me means transparency, it means authenticity, and vulnerability. I think these are the 3 pillars on which an organization can be endear to itself, to its consumers, and to its employees. Thanks.
Good afternoon, everybody. Happy to be here. I'm Lalita Indrikanti. I'm the CEO for Jaguar Land Rover GCCs. So we are the modern luxury car organization. For me, trust is definitely transparency. It's about being clear in terms of how are you collecting the customer data, how are you using the customer data. Can they really be transparent about it?
Hi, everybody. I'm Juhi Agarwal. I am the CIO for Scan Holdings Family Office. Working in the financial markets in India, I think trust is the most fundamental essence when you're working in the capital markets. Wherever there is money flow, nothing goes without trust, whether it's transactions, whether it's recommendations, whether it's partnership building with your different stakeholders. So I think trust is at the very core of each activity that you take in the financial setup. One word, if I have to describe trust by, is transparency and honesty in operations and in the workflow.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Vaibhav Malu. I'm the MD and CEO of Enzo Webworks. For me, we are a company which is coming out with 12 mobile applications, first of its kind in India, building a digital infrastructure which is going to make India autonomous in the digital economy. And for me, trust and the users that we acquire are going to place their trust in us with the usernames, passwords, credit card details, and different sensitive information. So for me, trust means building a brand with underlying products and systems which is transparent. And one word I would say is the brand's ethos. It should communicate trust.
Well, great. Thank you very much. That's what I was expecting. What different word coming for describing trust from each panelist. So it was great. Lalita, if I may start with you. Since you were leading technology for Jaguar Land Rover, the company which reinvented by software, data, autonomy, etc. So how do you build trust when technology is moving faster than regulation?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, because there's always going to be a race between innovation and compliance, always in the organizations. So as I mentioned, transparency is definitely a key, and you cannot wait for the compliance or the regulations to kick in to do the right thing. As an organization, you have to always do the right thing. If you look at it, of course, India is now implementing DPDP rules, data privacy rules, etc. But I think if you look at from a stats perspective, almost 83% of the organizations have either appointed chief ethics officer, chief AI officers, or in the process of doing so. So that is, the governance plays a massive role in playing bringing the trust into the organization. Because, if the customers has to trust the organization to be using their data in the right way, that's the reason why I say transparency is an important core component of the trust. Concerns management is a core part of using the customer data. So where do you draw the line between hyper-personalization to the point of improving whatever the products you're building, improving customer lives, at the same time not be intrusive, right? Because you have an access to most of the data. The AI models are predicting human actions before humans think about it. So technology is certainly advancing. That is the reason, with or without compliance, with or without the data protection rules, as an organization, it is super important for you to do the right thing. And governance plays a key role in doing the right thing, putting the guardrails in the organization, doing use of technology to the right reasons, with the right purpose-led organizations. That's super important. So I would say don't have to wait for it. Just do the right thing right from the beginning is my point.
So government's role and personal ethics probably are the most important thing, Okay.
Organizational ethics.
Organizational, yeah. Rakesh, if I may come to you. Every CEO today is told they must digitize or die. But not every problem needs an app. So where should CEOs draw the line between digital transformation and digital obsession?
I think this is something which is very much rampant in today's world because, digital transformation is about problem solving. It's not about deploying technology, so to say. And that's where we misconstrue most of the times, actually. And if your digital transformation is adding value to your organization, to your customers, and also changing the employees' productivity and making meaningful changes in your daily life, it's called transformation. But if it is just about being modern, that you're doing digitization, then it's just an obsession. I think we have to really understand between transformation and obsession, so to say. If you see, unless and until digital transformation has to cut across the barriers in terms of if you see the recent survey which I just went across, was that 74% of the digital transformation activities in India in 24 were actually failures. It's because primarily the companies actually chase technology rather than chasing KPI deliverables in terms of what transformation could actually bring to their organizations. So it became a fad. So digital transformation does not have to be seen as a religion. It has to be seen as a tool to transform the organization. To that extent, I have also seen organizations where digital transformation is a construction of how does it actually meaningfully benefit the employees without destroying the culture of that fabric, actually. So, for example, one of the largest banks in India today has got more than 5,000 crores revenues coming from digital adoption, and more than 96% of its customers are doing digital adoption, so to say. But still, they have more than 7,000 branches across the country. So, I mean, ideally speaking, a digital transformation activity should have wiped out 30% of those branches. But wiping out those 30% of offline branches would have meant losing out so many customers. So I think digital transformation is not about where companies want the customers to be. It's the other way around. The companies have to meet the customers where they are. So to that extent, I think digital transformation and digital obsession, there has to be a clear demarcation. You should have clear deliverable KPIs on what this digital transformation can actually mean. For me, primarily, as an organization, we look at three major aspects. One is, of course, the deliverable of a return on investment, whether it is making any meaningful reduction in your structural costs or you're gaining in any revenue streams. And third is whatever transformation activity you're doing, is it adding any value to the overall organization? Is it compounding value over a number of years? I think for me, those are the three decisions which actually would construct whether a digital transformation activity can be pursued. But yes, I mean, if you chase technology, you will get only obsession. And obsession is not what you require of a digital transformation activity. Thank you.
Thank you, Rakesh. Beautifully put. Rohan, if I may come to you with the next question. How are the AI automation actually changing productivity on the ground at the roads in that you're building?
I think, there are two aspects to AI. One is at the high end of jobs, right, which is software engineers, creative jobs like design, etc. These are, in our business, they are the highest paid people, data scientists. These are the highest paid people inside the organization. And AI essentially just automates their job to a fundamental degree. So they don't have to do the repetitive tasks again and again. So they can actually focus on building better architecture. They can focus on scalability, performance. They don't have to write code. They don't have to, do research on menial things. So it frees up their capabilities. And this is super important from a productivity point of view, because these are going to be the people who are, driving your organization forward. So your goals can be accelerated, etc. The second, I think, complete on-ground transformation, I'll give an example, is on scientific-related research. This could be autonomous driving, for example, right? Teaching a computer to see what a human can see, it's called computer vision. And then to be able to make decisions in real time, like humans, is a fundamental thing that AI can now do. So you can now apply this to, for example, at RoadZen, we apply to autonomous driving, right? If we can focus on reducing accidents on the road, we can actually, make the car safer. We can reduce insurance rates for everyone else. So we think there are a lot of benefits to using AI to tackle some of these really fundamental scientific problems, not just productivity. And we think there will be tremendous gains to come out of that.
So productivity can be increased several folds by adopting automation. Yeah, right, okay. Sunil, if I may come to you, you're in data flow, which has trust-based company. I mean, you're dealing with the trust, credential verification and background screening, etc. So in fact, you sit at the intersection of brand and platform and personal data. So in the age of data and AI, who truly owns the customer? Is it brand or the platform?
Good question. I think that everyone is really wondering about that. What happens to the data and who owns the data. So there is always a transition which is happening and which has been happening for last decade or so, where from brand, the customer is moving to a platform. So in today's, if we look at it right now, it is more about that platforms are owning the customer to some extent. I will not say 100% because they have the visibility to the data, what the customers are searching, what they are comparing. However, now it is moving towards, and in our context especially, moving towards the customer is owning the customer. So that is where the whole shift or paradigm shift is coming. Data can be validated, data can be utilized, but brand still wins the heart. Nobody wakes up to the loyalty to the Amazon or Snapdeal. People wake up to the loyalty to the Nike, Apple, Samsung, or the favorite coffee brand. So I think that is where there has to be a balance, and brands has, and I think you spoke about that, having 7,000 outlets. And that is where brands are investing to make an experience. So if you go to any of the brands these days, it is not a shop. It is not an outlet. It is an experience center. And that is how brands are really working to get the customers back. So customer is all about the touch point, whoever has the last touch point. So with AI coming in, it is becoming more dangerous. If you ask ChatGPT that which shoe I should buy, now the system will decide what I get to see. I might not be able to see best of the shoes. So that is where the brands has to work. Who own the list? Who own the list of contacts of the customer? And then brand will have to reach out to the customer as a last touch point. That is where this, and I always, in our industry, it is little different because we deal with a lot of confidential credentials of the people. And we always say that the real owner of those data or that data is the customer. Because in our industry, in data flow, our client or customer, or client is regulator, government. They employ us to do the verification or to do the due diligence. But the real customer is a user, a person who's moving country. So that is where, and it is becoming more and more important, and I'll talk later about how privacy and all comes into picture.
Very good. Thank you. Vaibhav, I would be coming to you here. You work with dozens of brand building digital experiences. You see a pattern across industries in 2026. What is harder today, acquiring the customers or retaining them?
In .com, I've been an avid user of internet since it arrived in 98, 97 in India, and a little before in the rest of the world, Western world. We've been using internet for a long time, and we know one thing, that simplification and less complication is the way to go about acquiring users. People, laymen, should understand the product. They should connect with the use case, and the product should have a void is filling. And in that case, then acquiring users and retaining them can be an easier task than doing both without it. If you have a complicated product which no one understands, or for example, at the risk of sounding or coming across as technically very, very, very complicated and advanced, but not having a use case commercially or for even daily use, you don't have, you won't acquire customers or end up retaining them. I think acquiring customers is easier, but to get them to be daily active users or daily users in of your brand, spread by the word of mouth, imbibing trust, like we discussed, is they go hand in hand. Acquiring users and retaining them both go hand in hand. Word of mouth is the biggest sort of propeller for growth of any business. And if you are sort of you connect with the users, you spread by your use case, by your simplified business model. I think you can acquire users and retain them. But definitely getting somebody to try a product is fine, but getting them to come back again and use them again is definitely more challenging.
So getting customer is, of course, preference, but holding them with you is even more, has larger preference. Jui, I will be coming to you. You are in the world of investment capital allocation. India's capital markets are digitizing rapidly, from data access to retail participation exploding. From where you sit, what are the biggest risks and opportunities in this digitization?
Well, thank you so much for the question. Since we are sitting on this forum discussing and talking about scripting a tomorrow, so I would like to take a step back to add some perspective here. From where we stand today, we are a population of 140 crore people, with roughly about 67 crore people who are gainfully employed in the nation. Yet, we only have 21 crore DMAT accounts, of which only 13.6 crore are active DMAT accounts. So, to begin with, that is the scope that lies for us to come at par with the earning population becoming a participant in India's financial growth story. Second lies the part where we talk about potential, right? India's mutual fund AUM as a percentage of India's GDP is roughly about 20%. To give you a perspective, this number in United States stands at 130%. And even for an economy like Japan, which is considered a very cheap source of money for foreign international institutions, that number stands at 50%. So we see what potential we have in India and how far we can go. So if you ask me from where I sit today, investing in India has to become exactly what UPI became for transactions and what Aadhaar became for banking. Because you want India's growth story where each Indian is a participant to that growth story through the financial ecosystem in India, which I think is a very, very large mammoth task to do, but very much doable with the scale and the acceptability and I would say innovation of the nation to come up with solutions, and this can only be done through AI and through digitization at every step of the way. The opportunities that I see are actually in 3 different stratas of the society. One is it is very important for us to bring the blue-collar job workers in this ecosystem and to make transacting in investing for them as simple as transacting for them is. Second is the segment where we talk about the middle class and the upper middle class people who have to understand that earning is a very important component of financial stability, but an equally important part of that financial stability is investing that money for your future. And the third is the part where we see the HNIs, ultra HNIs, and the family offices of the country who have to become a participant in the nation building by moving their funds and their money from assets like gold, jewelry, and deposits and real estate to the capital market in forms of investments in companies who are in turn building the nation, right? So this is where the huge scope of opportunity lies. But of course, that comes with a lot of risk because as the key topic of the discussion is, trust is at the forefront of everything that we do and we begin with. It is very important for the infrastructure development to be in line to meet this. Infrastructure development for this matter has to be seen as capex, not as expense, which is a very crucial basis of development of this segment. There has to be a match between action and intention for all sorts of financial product providers to understand and see and understand their fiduciary responsibility in terms of matching their promises to what they're delivering and not just going by their engagement numbers, which is, of course, in the date of AI, where all sorts of data can come in. Everybody wants to have higher engagement and higher KPIs, not really matching what the results are getting delivered are. Another important aspect is India has now come a lot far in it, and our regulators are very mindful of protecting the small shareholders and the minor ticket investors in the country. But I think to build something like this, the regulation has to be all the more comprehensive to go hand in hand with the development in the technology. And to have it become a catalyst in bringing artificial intelligence at every step of the way. This can start from something as simple as a customer background check to proposing or portfolio profiling or customer profiling to portfolio recommendations to product recommendations to accounting to taxation, to decision making to education of the client to awareness building, and the verticals are never ending, right? And this can only happen to the last mile scale when we use technology in an efficient manner to focus on results with a clear objective and not on obsession, as the discussion was just now, So to use it meaningfully in a way that the entire set of Indians who are building the nation actually become financial participants in the growth of the country.
Wow. great to hear your perspective. And good to know that AI has the capacity to play a larger role in this endeavor. Although AI comes with a lot of risk, of course, we are all aware of. We'll be talking a little more. Lalita, I will be coming back to you. We have talked about data, AI, trust, regulation, loyalty, growth. All of this ultimately lands to the leader's desk. So what kind of leadership does a fast, fluid, fragmented market demand today?
I think the answer is in the question itself. Fast, fluid, fragmented. What do you need in that kind of a time is agility, right? I think it is the ability for the leaders to be agile, shift with the changing needs, because things have never been this disruptive in the past. Today, the disruption is coming from tech. The disruption is coming from geopolitical ends. So this disruption hitting the organizations from all ends, and at that kind of things, two things which is required is stability and agility. So it's all about how leaders prepare a short-term vision and a long-term vision, where in the short term, responding, anticipating and responding. Responding alone is not going to be enough. It is about the anticipation of all the possible scenarios that's going to hit your products, your organizations, and being prepared with it and be able to respond swiftly. That's one of the key leadership traits that is required today. The second aspect is how do you develop a long-term vision with, again, trust, dependability, and competence, right? So those are the two things. One thing is not going to be sufficient. It has to be a multi-pronged approach. Balancing is very key leadership trait we need it today. So all the tech disruptions needs the balancing out, deciding AI, all the things what we are talking about.
Perfect. Rakesh, does Lalita's description matches you somehow?
Yeah, of course it does. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Perfect. Live Pure competes in the world where a customer can choose between 50 options in 30 seconds. So switching costs are near zero. So how do you build brand loyalty in world of infinite choices?
Yeah, of course. I think brand loyalty has become kind of a passe word, if you ask me. Traditional brand loyalties are, while some may feel bad about me saying this, but traditional brand loyalties are a passe now. So what matters is what the value you're attaching to this entire loyalty piece. I think the current paradox, if you can see, is that some customers, a same customer, will go and buy a product and downtrade and see value for that product as what kind of a value this product gives and buys at a particular price. But the same customer may pay 2x to 3x premium for something else, which that brand gives him the identity what he's looking for. So the same customer is behaving in different patterns when it comes to choosing different products and services, so to say. So for me, loyalty typically now falls into three larger pieces, actually. One is value-based identity, where brands have to be very meaningful of the fact that unless and until your products or services are not related to the identity of the individual, it may not mean much to the consumer. The second piece, which I believe the part of the loyalty is, which is the ecosystem loyalty. The ecosystem loyalty is primarily whether that brand is engaging with you day in, day out with your life. I think the more that brand is engaging in day out with your life, that loyalty piece actually increases. And third and foremost, which is becoming pretty rampant in these days, is about the community relationships, basically. So unless and until the brand does not feel to be a part of the larger community in terms of being amenable to serving or doing something for the larger community, the customer does not feel that he or she is a part of the tribe. So I think loyalty now will have a different connotations for different brands over a period of a time. And a similar example I can give of live pure as such. So, water is a scarce resource. We are a country of 1.4 billion, and we have 17% of world's population, but we have just 3% of world's water resources. And out of that 3%, 92% of the water is not even potable. So we are actually facing water crisis. I was delighted to hear that, we got 13 crore demat accounts. But let me tell you, there are only 2.1 crore Indian households who actually own a water purifier. So you're pretty good at it, I must say, than people having a water purifier. So just imagine, we have more than 6 million deaths across in the country, and people still don't own electrical water purifier because there are so many alternatives available. Maybe a boiled water, maybe a cloth on the tap, or some kind of other amenities. Whereas the government of this day has done a phenomenal job. Har Ghar Mein Nal is now almost reached 80% of the households, but whether those null can actually give you purified water is still a debate in question, actually, right? Ghar Ghar Mein Nal to pahunch gaya, lekin pani saaf pahuncha ki nahi? That's a moot question. So that's where we revolutionized. We saw that, we are drinking this water from these bottles today. So there's a $4.5–5 billion industry which is into the in the water jar industry. And by the day, you don't even know the brands. There are more than 600 brands, and they call themselves mineral water. And the consumer comes in and pays for it. And that's where we try to revolutionize the industry. And we launched something called as water as a service, was completely unheard of in this country. So where we told the consumers that we will install a water purifier free of cost to your home, and you use the water, pay as you go. So whether it's, a family of 4 only leaves 400 liters of water a month, or 250 liters, you choose from it. Or you can choose a 3-month, 6-month, 12-month plan. You can choose a hot and ambient water if you want to like to have. If you have a modular kitchen, you can choose an under-the-sink water purifier as well. So we customize it. So no more water jars coming to your house, disrupting your privacy. You don't know the source of the water, but yet you're giving purified water and trying to access millions of Indians with purified. So today we have more than 400,000 consumers. And let me tell you, Dinesh, talking of loyalty, about these 3 pieces which I talked about, which was the value identity, which was the ecosystem identity, and which was the community identity. Today, more than 35% of our consumers are coming from referrals. So that's brand loyalty once you're able to give these services on these 3 parameters as such. So traditional brand loyalties are passé. It's an engagement day in, day out, and making consumer to feel to be a part of the overall ecosystem and the overall community, which will make him or her amenable to your brand. I hope I was able to answer your question.
Wonderful. Yeah. Rohan, I would be coming to you. Since you're building Rosedden in a traditionally slow-moving industry, insurance, that is, and incumbents have been around for decades. So what is the one thing incumbents do that frustrates you the most, and how are you doing it differently?
So, I think India is the land of Blinkit and Zepto, right? Everything is expected at the tap of a button in under 10 minutes. But the insurance industry doesn't work like that. If you have a claim, you have to wait 6 to 8 weeks for the claim to be processed. Customers don't buy insurance because, today actually for auto, they buy it because it's mandated. But they really want a good claims experience when they have bought their insurance policy. And most insurers, not just in India, I would say across the world, they are focused more on collecting premiums than paying out claims. And that has been the backbone of this industry is, I'll collect premiums up front, and then I'll delay paying the claim as much as possible or deny it, right? And there's no transparency in this process at all. Like, they'll deny the claim, you won't know what has happened. So what we are doing is we are bringing real-time and trust and transparency into the claim process. So rather than, like today when a car is connected, we can actually predict you've been in an accident. You don't need to call us. We can get data from your phone, we can get data from a connected car and say there's been an accident on the road, give you a push notification on your phone that says, why don't you take a 360-degree video of the car right now? As you're taking the video, the AI can actually determine in real time this part is damaged, this needs to be repaired, this needs to be replaced, and creates a claim estimate in less than 2 minutes. This would take weeks because you would have to take it to a garage, someone will come and inspect it, they'll submit the report to the insurer. We can do it in under 2 minutes now, right? And we're going further. We're saying after we've approved your estimate, so let's say it's a 7,000 rupee estimate. Here is the garage you can take it to. You take it, there are cameras installed, so you don't need to be worried about the trust in the process. Is he going to replace a part and put some substandard part in there? You can see everything on a live feed. So this is what's needed. The customer expects it. And RoadZen is working now across 14 countries in delivering this experience. And we are very proud to say that we are building AI in India and transporting it to almost every major country in the world, North America, Europe, and we are expanding a lot more.
Wow, great to hear that. Sunil, to you. Now, every consumer wants personalization, but also along with the personalization, privacy, it comes. So how do you balance personalization with privacy in the real world?
I think we have been talking about the transparency, and that is the core of when it comes to the data, whether the data privacy or data personalization. When collecting the data, be upfront about asking and telling that what we are collecting and why we are collecting. That builds the trust. Once the user or the people know that why we are collecting and how we are going to use that data, and the trust is there, it will take away all the ambiguity, whether my data will be stolen, how or who all will have access to this data. Second is, I think, from personal ID to a pattern, that is how the data should really be used. Gone are the days that what Sunil Kumar likes. Now the days are what this segment of people like to do. And that is how the AI should be used. That is the real use of AI, that when it is able to give the right patterns, right algorithms, to make the look at the marketing agencies, what they do. They don't do the personalized marketing, but still they are able to connect with people. They are using the data in such a way that it feels personalized, but they are not breaching that line of privacy. So, and privacy for every organization, and I have been talking about that, privacy for us, privacy of data for us, is the core, because trust and privacy of data, that should be by design, not by choice. In every process, every system, every organization, it should be by design. All these countries, the GDPR is there in London. India is coming up with their data privacy policy. Southeast Asia, there are a lot of countries which have the data privacy policies. Then it is all around that, how do we give access to the consumer, and how do we give access to the user? Here the user are the corporates or the brands or the companies. And giving control of that data into consumers' hand. I should have right to choose that what data I want to share. I should be able to delete the data whenever it is, or I should be able to purge the data whenever it is required. So privacy giving in hand of consumer is very, very important. So when you give the privacy in hand of consumer, it becomes personalized. So then this discussion of that, whether it is a personalized data or whether it is a privacy issue, you are really pushing it out. When you are giving everything in hand of the consumer, those who really owns the data. So that is where everything has to come by design. And we get a lot of questions because we have millions of data of people across the world. We work in 200 plus countries. So and everybody asks, and that is what we have designed our system, that today you can go and say, from now onwards, this second onwards, this data is not available, period.
Do you usually face challenge to keep both the things together?
It is. See, because in particularly I will talk about our industry, because our industry is depending on that, where people are moving, and then there are a lot of frauds which happens when people submit the fraudulent documents and fraudulent information. If in future there is a legal suits and all requirements.
Okay, yes.
Sorry. If there are legal suits and requirements, now the consumer is saying that you delete the data. But from a legal perspective, we need to keep that data because the government is asking for that data. So that is a challenge, but there is always a way to find out. Then that's where we say that let's not get the personal IDs, get the required data. Let's not hoard all sort of information. Only keep the data which is required for you, say, 10 years from now.
Great. Vaibhav, I will quickly coming to you. You see brands invest millions in digital experiences, all trying to delight the customers. So what's the most common mistake companies make in the pursuit, and what should they do instead?
Okay, so see, .com is a space where users don't have to really pay to sign up. Most cases, you can just sign up for free. But what companies and products do wrong is to overcomplicate, like I said earlier, overcomplicate the user experience, the use case, and not simplify it and make it basic. If you see the best companies in the world, like best .com companies in the world, like Google, Facebook, etc., they are simple ideas. They are not a work of genius or anything, but they were just there to fill in a void which commercially and socially people accept it. So to create a community of your brand, you have to sort of have a simple business model which people use and find it easy to use.
Okay, great. Jui, the question goes to you. How do you decide what to trust? The model, the data, or human judgment?
I don't think it's an either-or situation, because the age and time we are living in, I think we're only at the tip of the iceberg, and for every industry, there's going to be only more data and more analytics and more things that can be done. But I think we should use AI for its capabilities to identify patterns faster. We should use data in order to understand what is happening at the grassroots level numerically. That's the strength. But human judgment in today's time still is relevant enough to add a lot of perspective to how that data or those models are to be put to use and what are the objectives to be set for it, giving it a clear direction. Any activity undertaken just by means of running models is pointless if it's not directed appropriately and if it is not reaching the results as one would expect to. So I think there's no either or. It's to find that sweet spot where is the perfect intersection of all three in order to utilize the strength of each aspect to build faster and better and more scalable solutions.
Wonderful. Actually, I would like to pose this question to all the panelists. So would you mind taking this, everyone? Yeah. The same question.
Okay. Can you repeat?
Yeah. How do you trust? How do you decide what to trust? The model, the data, or the human judgment?
I think with the advent of internet and facts available on the internet, I think it's easy to trust technology and internet and sources. Obviously, judgment-wise, human judgment along with is predominantly the best judgment possible with facts. And in some cases, especially numerical and in certain agentic cases, AI can also help and be of a lot of help and be faster. But ultimately, I think human judgment supersedes everything.
Sunil, you go with the same. Human judgment supersedes.
Yeah, I think human judgment and the AI. AI is helping the human judgment. That's how I always take AI is not replacing human. AI will always be used and should be used as a tool for better judgment, and that is where the trust will be built.
Okay, great. Rohan.
I think I'll take a contrary view slightly. Human judgment can be biased. Human judgment can be influenced. Today, most systems work in a way where data is the foundation. The model takes the first decision. And if there's a high degree of confidence in that decision, then it's passed straight through. But if there is a low degree of confidence, and the model can predict its confidence in its decision. So once you've made that decision, you know the confidence, then you decide whether to have a human in the loop or not. And whether we like it or not, the AI models are going to get so good, so fast, that the decision making, most of it will be made by models. And in my view, they will definitely be made by models first. And if there is a human needed, that can come at a much later stage.
Great. Wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, I will slightly agree with parts of what everyone has said. So you could have loads of data churn around to you. And based on that data, you could create certain models, and which are models which are amenable for your business, what you're trying to do. But at the end of the day, the human leadership, even if it's biased at times, the biases will have to be removed by the objectivity of the leadership. So to that extent, human judgment at the last moment for making decisive action is very, very critical, I would say. Thanks.
Great.
I think there are two aspects to it for me. One is in terms of how good is your data will determine how good are the outcomes, right? So I think in terms of tech is evolving. So I think the data accuracy has to be significantly improved in order for the models to make those decisions. And the humans always are required even to train those models and do that. So the only thing which I would say, irrespective of the data model or the human, the thing is the accuracy and the speed with what we can make decisions, because the data and models are aiding, is significantly improving. So the ability to take faster decisions is coming in, whether it is going to be a purely model-driven decisions or humans using the models part of it. But the speed is increasing for sure, and will continue to evolve.
I'll just add one thing into this, like some of the banking people will be able to relate to this, that in banking terms, we use 2i, 4i, 6i, and 8i checks. That means that how many eyes are checking through the process. So the models and everything will be able to reduce these eyes, but 2 eyes will always be there.
Thank you for having a great discussion, scintillating discussion about trust, and I believe that audience has taken a lot with their perspectives. So hopefully we'll keep talking about trust and dealing with the trust issues that we have discussed here. So with this, I would like to thank my all panelists here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's get together here for a group photograph first. Let's have a round of applause once again for all our panelists, all our speakers. Thank you very much.